YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back in Total War Warhammer 2. Ouch! Alarielle just takes a shot there. I don't know how she didn't fall off the eagle. So welcome to this 2v2. My teammate, this is his first time ever playing in a Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer battle. And this is actually from a stream. My teammate and the other two players in this game donated a ton to my channel. And so I insisted that they come play a game with me. I stopped playing the campaign we were on, and so this is us playing a game. And it was really fun. And I love the bravery here, too, of my teammate who's never played a battle, jumping in, playing with me on stream. And I do believe that the Dark Elf player over here also had not played a lot of online battles. But this will go to show you all that you don't have to have played a lot. You can just jump in and have fun. It's just a good time. The dwarf player with me has a little bit of infantry. I've also brought a little bit of infantry, but I've got handmaidens supporting some archers that I'm hoping to do a lot of damage with. I got a noble and Alarielle out here. The Greenskins have a bunch of boys, a couple of boar boys. They've got Wurzag and a pretty solid archer force over here, as well as a bunch of goblins. And then the Dark Elves have a bunch of bleak swords up front. They have an executioner in the back, a ton of dark shards. I believe there's 5 dark shards. So we're going to have to be very careful of that. My teammate got a little over-hopeful with his gyrocopters here, and they got shut down. And then I'm up here with Alarielle, but I'm very keenly unaware right now of this effigy to get. And Alarielle starts to take damage very quickly from it, and she's frozen in place right in front of the Greenskin archers. So I have no choice but to drop a Star of Avelorn and an Earthblood. I have got to heal Alarielle faster than she's dying here, which will be quite tricky because it's going to be some time before she can even move. And even when she can move, it's risky for me to move outside of that Star of Avelorn because she still might die relatively quick. So Alarielle finds herself in grave danger very early in this battle, but I am able to get her out of there thanks to the help of the Star of Avelorn. It was brutal, and the non-stop fire from that Reaper bolt thrower has been gruesome as well. We have to move our forces up. We don't have any long range. At first, my dwarf teammate had some grudge throwers, but he got rid of them in favor of other units. So I'm going to move up, but these shielded dark shards are on the other side of the woods, and this is going to be really ineffective fire here from my units. It's going to be a waste of their ammo, so I won't be able to keep it up. I also do have a Phoenix Guard in my army, and the Fireborn, which are meant for me to do some damage against pricey enemy units while just kind of supporting an infantry fight with the dwarves. So the infantry fight will begin. The Greenskins are going to go ahead and charge us. I've got to use my noble to good success if I want to win this battle. The Dark Elves are a little slow on their attack here. They'll send a couple of units forward, but the huge bunch of their Dark Shards are being held back at the moment. And then the Dwarf guns over here are a little bit exposed on this flank. I'm going to pull my Fireborn to the other flank because there's a couple of boar boys approaching. And these Dwarfs seemed like they were in a decent position because they had all of this water out in front of them. So I didn't figure that they would have to worry too much about cavalry, but here comes some Dark Riders, and if they were in firing position, they probably could have shut this down because the water slows down units so much, but they're not in firing position. And so these two Thunderers are in a bit of trouble because those Dark Riders have the WA active on them right now, and they're going to cause extra damage when they get into that fight, which will work out very good for them. The main fight not going fantastic for us because we are up against the Greenskins. The Dark Elves have committed some of their troops into this fight as well. I'm holding out for as long as I can. My Chariot has gotten in and already caused 50 kills. My Fireborn is looking for an opportunity to engage, but at this point getting a little bit overextended. I was trying to draw these boar boys into the fight, and I did so by attacking this Gobbo Big Boss. The unfortunate thing is that means I've thrown away my charge. Now the boar boys are going to countercharge me. So I'm going to come out here, drop a Star of Avelorn again, because I'm going to keep these guys in the fight for as long as possible. But this gets me another effigy to get from Wurzag, which really appreciate the gifts that Wurzag has been giving me. And at the same time, he is spooling up a brain bursta there, so nice use of that, causes good damage. Going to continue to heal. You can see Alarielle getting Foz protection. That was actually a misclick because of the way the game was working. That's pretty frustrating. The infantry fight is actually okay. We're managing to stave off the Greenskins, at least for the time being, and I still have my Phoenix Guard, and it's because the Dark Elf player back here has not been fast enough to reinforce his teammate again. He's very new to these battles, and probably was just a little bit overwhelmed, I think, trying to play this, but He is attempting to cause damage where he can. He did a good job over here with his Dark Riders, taking out those Thunderers, who could have caused tremendous damage. The Phoenix Guard is inbound. I was trying to retreat, but can't even really retreat because of the way the Boar Boys had me held. But I am going to throw my Phoenix Guard into this fight, which will scare off the Boar Boys. Finally, I'll be able to retreat. But this also exposes my Phoenix Guard flank, and they don't have shields. And it's going to expose them to all of these Night Gobbo Archers and Error Boys, who have a very good line on them right now. So, very expensive unit is going to get chewed up, and then a Foot of Gork. I was just like screaming when I saw that Foot of Gork coming because it was right on my two most expensive units. Look at the damage it did to the Phoenix Guard. Just unreal. Very nice play by Vinsul, who is representing the Greenskins. And at this point, I'm pulling back my Archers and my Handmaiden because I'm just hoping that I can cause the damage needed back here. The Dark Riders from the Dark Elf player now threatening my Archers and stuff too. So very dangerous situation for me because I'm also threatened over here by the Boar Boys. However, this Boar Boy is going to get wrecked by Archer Fire very quickly, and I continue to keep my my Fireborn and Phoenix Guard in this fight much longer than you would think by the presence of Alarielle there, and so as they stay in that fight, they'll be able to cause a lot of damage. However, here comes the Nasty Skulkers, a very good unit for trying to pick down Phoenix Guard. And then look at this, we are going to get attacked by the Dark Riders here. This is very, very bad for me. I don't want to lose my Archers while they still have ammunition. But I do have the Handmaiden there. She can help stave off some of these Dark Riders, and I'm going to dive in. Alarielle should be able to get these guys to go bye-bye because they're just light cavalry, and my sisters managed to stay safe. However, I did lose a considerable number of Archers in that attack, which is definitely not what I needed. The different Gobbo units routed in the face of a very depleted unit just kind of gives you an idea of the quality of these High Elf units. And then my Noble is still alive, and I have just taken him and gone full bore, but he is exhausted from all the killing. He's got 120-something kills already, and he's going to continue to slaughter Greenskins here, but we did finally get the Greenskin Archers, and now Wurzag is approaching in an attempt to take down my sisters and my other Archers, but he is very overextended here. He's being chased by Ungrim. He's taking extreme damage, and the sisters are going to really feed it to him. And then we've also got the Handmaiden here who can roll an attack in if needed. Alarielle is going to dive bomb him, and Wurzag actually manages to survive for a moment before he is put down by the Everqueen, so the effigy to get is now on him. But here comes the Supreme Sorceress too. She apparently wants a piece of the battle, so my sisters and these Dwarf Rangers back here, my sisters aren't close enough to the Handmaiden to be affected by her buffs, but these Archers are. You can see their missile damage all the way up to 25. Because of the presence of this Handmaiden, and the Handmaiden has a target on the Dreadlord too. I said Supreme Sorceress earlier, that is my bad. She's going to go attack Ungrim. Ungrim is going to put a huge beating on her. I have very limited magic left, but I do have some magic, and my hope is to maybe heal some of the Dwarf leadership. Alarielle can't heal because I did so much of it earlier, thanks to the brilliant play by the Greenskins. I am going to be pushing back the Dwarf Skirmishers for quite some time with my Noble. The Greenskin Skirmishers. They have to be pushed off the battlefield. The Dark Elf player has still been slow, but he now has 3 Dark Shards in late game. He's used the ammo off of his Reaper Bolt Throwers, I think, almost completely. And I do believe that he still has a unit of Executioners on the battlefield as well. So we're going to have to be keenly aware of that. So yeah, here are the Dread Spears, Bleak Swords. Here's the Executioner over here, and Ungrim is in big trouble. He does not want to be fighting these Executioners. I'm going to take a Alarielle, swing out here too. We've got to get rid of the routing Greenskins. I have just a few Fireborn left, 5 of them here, and then I have a teeny bit of ammo back here with my Archers and a decent chunk left with my Handmaiden. The Handmaiden is going to be very, very key if we hope to win this, and honestly, a pretty well coordinated assault by the Dark Shards right now could put us out of business because my Noble Chariot is so busy back here, and it's really the only true threat to these Dark Shards, which have yet to be brought forward into battle. There is another unit, but again, this player was new to the battles, and it is hard to take care of all your units whenever you are new online, but don't worry about it. That's why you come play and you just learn. Over here we got Rangers being chased by Bleak Swords. Rangers will do something in melee. They won't be great. They'll do something. Here's my Phoenix Guard. Poor guys got dumped on in this battle. Knight Assassin trying to assassinate Ungrim, so pretty cool fight you don't see every day here. Ungrim's armor and his unbreakable nature make him pretty good in this fight. Knight Assassin has really high damage though. I'm going to chase him out. Yeah, but the goblins are going to cover his retreat. And it's at this point, in just a moment, when I realize that I'm being charged by Hargoneth executioners over here. But yeah, it took me long enough. Took me long enough. These dark shards had moved up and started to cause some damage as well. They've gotten rid of some hammerers, so we still have to deal with all of those dark shards. A few of the Gobbo archers have come back from routing. You can see the rusty arrows here, and they are hidden. I can't see them. And chasing them all the way to the edge of the map, which I thought I had done, but apparently not. I saw the dwarves over here engaged. They're using the ruins, and I knew that this was probably a good opportunity to get in here and try and heal up the leadership of the dwarves, because the balance of power was starting to sour against us. And if I could keep the dwarf leaders alive for a while longer, it gives us a chance. Now, over here I used my archers as bait. They turned their back to the sisters who got their last volley. I'm going to allow these executioners to kind of tire out a little against my archers, and then use my handmaiden to pop off some shots and kill more of their unit models. I really can't afford to engage that executioner with any of my units, and I can't afford to throw away all my units either. You can see the dwarves engaged here. I do believe that I used my last heal. If I didn't, then I was about to. I think I used it though and put some health back on Ungrim and the runesmith. And so it's kind of keeping us in the balance of power for now. But the dark shards from the Dark Elf player are moving forward. I saw them begin to move and immediately retasked my chariot, because I knew I was going to have to get over here and interrupt all these dark shards, because they could very quickly get up here and destroy the dwarf leadership. Without their ammunition, it's now time for my sisters to fulfill their secondary role, which is very capable melee combatants against low armor units. And these dark shards up here are just that, and the bleak dread spears too. So I'm gonna get my sisters into combat. They should do pretty darn well in this combat. They don't have a ton of kills, but they have caused a lot of damage. You can see by their chevronage there. The dark shards firing away into this fight, and why not at this point? Look what they're doing to Ungrim. They just about killed him there in a single volley. So I'm desperately, my chariot completely exhausted. It's now got 230 kills. I'm just trying to plow it through as many of these dark shards as I can, because I'm trying to interrupt their firing. If I can interrupt their firing, then we're good, while my handmaiden is kiting out the rest of her ammo against the Hargoneth executioners and killing them one by one. And every bit counts there. We need to kill those executioners as much as possible before I engage in long-term melee. Look at the sisters here. They've already gotten about 30 kills in melee. They are absolutely tanking it. The Rune of Negation helping them massively, so healing my dwarf ally here has proved clutch so far. My noble now just starts to get absolutely overwhelmed by units in combat. I mean, he is in his zone here taking out infantry, but he's very, very tired. So I decide instead to maybe see if I can help clear up this fight so that the sisters can come in and assist. And I have pulled my sisters over, who are now up to 87 kills and really doing a very nice job in their secondary combat role. The executioners over here are starting to figure out that they're never going to catch my handmaiden, and I'm actually going to jink them here in a minute and come back around them to the fight. I should have already done this because my leadership is needed over here. We are still struggling. The dwarf leadership's about to drop. Ungrim's down to 200 hit points. Thank goodness he is unbreakable. And then his runesmith is also dangerously low here. The Knight Assassin regrouped, and he's in the fight over here against my sisters, which is quite bad. But look at the sisters. Picked up a third chevron, almost up to 100 kills, making their queen proud. But look at this back here. The Orc Air Boys and the Rusty Airs have regrouped and are skulking up on our flanks. Look at this chariot, what he's had to deal with in this fight. It's now up to 330 kills, just wrecking dark shards. But here comes a relatively healthy dread spear. My sisters are fighting to the bitter end, but it is just about their bitter end. 103 kills there on them. Very impressive performance. They've had to deal with a lot. The handmaiden is trying to get a line on some of these troops here. Probably trying to get her in. Yep, to help clean up this blob first, and then we turn on the Knight Assassin. So the dark shards being pushed out of the battle, which means that it is possible for me to turn this one. Now the Knight Assassin becomes the target of choice, as well as all this infantry here. So I'm going to do a quick charge on the infantry. I'm trying my best to get in here and help the dwarf leadership, but Ungram dies, the runesmith routs, and things start to get pretty desperate. What a stand, though, by Ungram and the runesmith. It was very impressive. Dark shards are now regrouping all around the battlefield. I chased these ones off for a long time, but then the minute I turned my back on them, they regrouped. Dark shards regrouped over here. The Canine Assassin still has some very, very high damage ammunition, and he is shooting at us point blank. It's a very dangerous situation. And then the Air Boys have wheeled up, so we have a very, very desperate fight on our hands. If I am to win this, I'm going to have to get rid of these archers quickly. Fortunately, the leadership of the Greenskins is very, very low. I decided to swing through the forest for a little bit of cover, pop out, and get these different skirmisher units that are cropping up as they regroup. And then I'm just trying to avoid combat with the Dread Spears for the moment, because my noble is going to be poisoned by these rusty arrows, and I really don't want to be poisoned in the presence of an anti-large unit, and we still have to deal with the Hargoneth Executioner, though the balance of power is starting to tilt in our favor because the leadership for the enemy troops is diminishing. I get rid of the rusty arrows, which means the poisoning should wear off shortly, but I really don't want to fight in the woods here either, because all of my large units will be penalized for fighting there, and yet another Dark Shard regroups and opens fire. So I have to quickly get rid of them. I have my Handmaiden moving in to destroy them. And she will do well at this. She will do quite well. But this is a line of Dark Shards that can't necessarily be easily interrupted by a single entity on a horse. So it will take a moment for her to complete her work. I continue to keep my noble away from those spears. But look at this, the Canine Assassin regroups. Look at the damage he just did to my Handmaiden in that single shot. So the Canine Assassin must be gotten rid of. And he finally shatters here at the hands of the Handmaiden. No pun intended. Or was it? The Dark Shards, I really don't want them to come back, but I can ill afford to chase them and leave my chariot to his demise. So it's a very tricky situation. I decide to send Alarielle out there. I'm going to bring back the Handmaiden. I'm attempting to get enough magic recharge, and yet another Dark Shard crops up over here. So very dangerous situation for me. I'm going to have to send my Handmaiden after that. I'm trying to mostly avoid this fight, though the Executioners do kind of get lined up in a line, and I decide that there is a good charge opportunity, but the exhaustion of my noble makes it to where he can't even break through them with his mass. He does cause a lot of damage, and I'm going to have to now pull away from that. These Dark Shards are out, these ones are shattered, so now Alarielle can regroup. My sisters regrouped, 114 kills, triple chevron. These sisters serve their queen. And so they're going to come into one final combat, expending their lives against the Dark Elves in order for their noble and their queen to have a chance to win this. And the noble does come in with a massive rear charge. Here comes the Handmaiden, also fighting desperately for her queen. And then the Queen Alarielle moving up in the background too, as the last stand of the Dark Elves won't be enough to hold out. And the sisters actually survived the battle in the end, a few of them. What heroes they are, no doubt destined to go on to become princesses and handmaidens themselves. That was a heck of a fight. It was a heck of a fight. I know there were a couple of new players there, and there were plenty of mistakes made by all, but in the end, you could see that you don't have to have some kind of epic competitive roster of players to have fun in these battles, and this one turned out to be crazy fun in the end. The Dark Elf player, had he moved those Dark Shards up earlier, we were toast. There was no way we could have handled that. But you know what? When you're new and you play these games, those are the things you start to figure out. And it was really fun to play against Ragnar here. I appreciate him joining in the battle. Gave us a heck of a fight there. Those Executioners scared the living crap out of me there at the end and had me on the run for quite a long time. And I must say that Vinsul, that Foot of Gork was beautiful. Very nice work with the effigy to get and nearly killing Alarielle in the beginning of that battle and making me expend precious resources on healing her. That was very nicely done, and then the way he played against the Fireborn was also quite brilliant. It wasn't enough to save his Boar Boys, but, I mean, the spend on these two Boar Boys is pretty much the same as the Fireborn, and he got the Fireborn plus most of the Phoenix Guard as a gift, so that was definitely in favor of him. His infantry was not insanely overpowering to us, and we were able to deal with it, but it was still, as you can see, did quite a bit of work, and the Hammer of Gork there too. And then Sergeant Reaper on my side here, getting a pretty solid number of kills on some of these units, but you can see there was no chevron pickup here from the Hammerers. which is probably a bad sign against the Greenskins because there's just so many cheap units. And Skulkers are just a very effective unit against the Dwarves. They're very effective. And it's because they're cheap, they deal armor piercing, and they combine nicely with other cheap infantry units to give the Dwarves an absolute nightmare because they just don't do well against that kind of stuff. But still, if Reaper hadn't been there with his Dwarf leadership in the end and helping me fight off all these people, I would have lost that battle for sure. So the epic stand by the Runesmith and Ungram was very critical and awesome. Thank you, Reaper, for playing on my team, and Vinsul and Ragnar. Thank you all so much, number one, for the support you gave me last night in the stream. I hope it's cool to see yourself on the channel here and to know that everybody today is enjoying a lot of content because of how awesome you are. And there are a lot of people like you out there in my audience, all of you, whether you've donated to me or watched videos or been here for years, or honestly even those that come on and say, Air, you stink. That's fine. All of you are welcome, and I thank you for being on the channel. 10 years of YouTube. I can't thank you all enough for an awesome ride in my life that is incredible. Something I never would have imagined would happen, to have an awesome community of folks from all over the world enjoying games together and to get to have this opportunity. I can't thank you all enough. When we pass 250,000, it's going to be, honestly, it'll be an emotional moment for me because of these huge milestones, emotional in a good way, right? Very humbling and exciting. And I can't wait to share it with you all, and this was a good start to it. So thank you to these three for being epically awesome, and there were others on the stream last night who were awesome as well. And thank you for watching this video. We are almost to that 250,000 subscriber mark. Help me get there, folks. Help me get there. Let's keep the celebration going. Hope you're enjoying the content deluge. HeirofCarthage signing out for now. I will see you soon.